Come on, let's give ourselves a great big hand. First of all, it's early in the morning. It's early in the morning, and what a joy it is to be in the Bahamas. I get to live here. I've had opportunities to move elsewhere and take up other assignments, and I want to say something similar to what the previous speaker just said, but I wouldn't be qualified. If I wasn't a bishop and in the Bahamas, I'd have said, I told him, hell no. But it's a joy. So welcome to all of you who are visiting from elsewhere. We are delighted to have you in the Bahamas. All the Bahamians, let's give all of our guests another big, big welcome. What a joy. Mr. President, exceptionally nice to have you in our country, and all of you who are here today. I was talking with my son last night, and I told him I was going to be speaking here, and that caught him off guard because he knows I'm traveling today, and please excuse me when I'm done, because I leave very shortly for an engagement elsewhere outside of our country. But we were talking, and he said something to me. I won't tell you what he said, but it reminded me of an incident that happened not long after he was born. These men were in the bank. 3 men, 1 woman. The 2 men were by themselves. 1 man was with his wife. That's who the woman was. And each of them were in the bank to secure a loan. When they were in the bank, 3 gunmen showed up at the bank and had everybody to stand still. One pointed a gun all around the room. If you move, I'll kill you. And so everybody hit the ground. Everybody hit the ground. The 2 men and the man and his wife. The gunman went to one of the men who was by himself, and he said, "Did you see me rob this bank?" And he said, "Yes, sir," and they shot him. The guy went to the next man, and he said, "Did you see me rob this bank?" Well, he caught on real quickly, said, "I didn't see a thing." And he went to the man who was married with his wife right there next to him, and he said, "Did you see me rob this bank?" He said, "No, sir, but my wife saw everything." I hope that's not the attitude of a Morehouse man. Somebody, and this is a poem written by Edgar Guess. It's called "It Couldn't Be Done." Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be one who wouldn't say so until he tried. So he buckled right in with the trace of a grin. On his face, if he worried, he hid it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Somebody scoffed, "Oh, you'll never do that. At least no one ever has done it." But he took off his coat, and he took off his hat, and the next thing we knew, he'd begun it. With a lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quitting, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. There are thousands to tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you one by one the dangers that wait to assail you. But just buckle in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your coat and go to it. Just start it to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you'll do it. I want you to look at one of the persons sitting next to you on your left or right and tell them, that poem speaks of my life. Morehouse College has been producing extraordinary leaders, visionaries, and pillars of the community because the spirit of Morehouse, from what I understand, has always been to tackle the thing that's never been done and do it. Morehouse has boasted of the fact that they don't just educate students. They produce innovators and leaders who are men of distinction. Morehouse men boldly proclaim they're in a class of their own. That's what Morehouse men proclaim. And so I want to congratulate the organizers of this event today as we seek to lift the discourse and change the narrative and inspire and encourage men, particularly black men, to take wherever you are in your life and move to the next phase of the journey. I was asked to take my time to use my time to inspire. That's all I've come to do, inspire. And so I want to share with you from this subject, creativity, courage, and the power of unity. Creativity, courage, and the power of unity. I'm going to call 5 names, maybe 6. And when I call each name, I want you to just quickly say a word that comes to your mind at the mention of that name. Name number 1, Michael Jordan. What? The GOAT. Okay, I wasn't quite thinking in that direction. But all right, okay, all right. Let's try another one. Muhammad Ali. Tiger Woods. Okay. Martin Luther King. Barack Obama. Okay, now, whatever word you used for each of these guys, the point is it was spontaneous. You didn't have to think about it. You heard the name, something came to your mind. You heard the name, something came to your mind. You didn't scratch your head. You didn't pause to think. You heard the name, something came to your mind. Here's the question. As we launch forth for the next 25 minutes or so in this, what is supposed to be inspiring address, and I hope I live up to it. When people call your name 20 years from now, what word do you want them to come up with? 20 years from now, when people call your name, what word do you want them to come up with? I'm going to let you take 1 minute of my time and talk around the table for a moment and tell somebody around the table that one word that you're thinking about you'd want people to call or think about when they call your name. Let's take a minute and do that. Try to stay away from adjectives. Try to stay away from adjectives. Because we could have some peculiarities coming if you just if you don't stay away from adjectives. When people call your name 20 years from now, what do you want them to think about? What is the one word you would like for somebody to say 20 years from now when they call your name in 2044? What is that one word, with a point here, that you would want them, to say? I'm going to give you 20 seconds more, and then I'm going to hear from 5 or 6 people. I just want the word. I just want the word. I just want the word. All right, good. Your time is up. Let me get somebody from this table right next to the front table. Just somebody just stand up and give us your word. Okay, our time for discussion now is over. Our time for discussion now. It's time for inspiration. You got to hear what other people are thinking. Yes, sir.
The word that we used was father.
Huh?
Father.
Father. Whoa. Okay, now you spoke in the plurality of the thing. I don't want the plural. You spoke for the table. Now, what is your word?
No, I spoke for me.
I thought you said a word around the table. Okay, so you want to be known as a good father.
Exactly.
Father, all right. Let's get somebody from this table right here. All right, while they're thinking about it, let's get somebody from this table right. Yes, sir. Greatness. Okay, you want them to think the word greatness when your name is called.
Absolutely.
All right, and your name?
Shervin Lloyd.
Shervin Lloyd.
Yes, sir.
Greatness.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, I'll take that. Anybody from this table?
Mentor.
Mentor. Whoa, okay. What about somebody from this table? I'll take one and then one more. Trailblazer. All right now. All right, yes, sir. John Bull table? Huh? Blessed. Okay. Wow. Great name, great words. Let's give all of them a hand. Thank God for them. Dr. Benjamin Mays. Some of you would know that name. Benjamin Mays. He was president of Morehouse College from 1940 to 1967. 27 years he was the president of Morehouse College. And here's something he said. It must be borne in mind that the tragedy of life does not lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goal to reach. The tragedy does not lie in not reaching the goal, but the tragedy lies in not having any goals to reach. I'm going to give you one more minute of my time. And I want you to take a minute and share with one another what's the one goal you'd want to accomplish by the end of the year. Okay, now I hear nothing. I guess that one is too challenging. I'm still going to give you the 60 seconds whether you use it or not. I need the 60 seconds to figure out my next point. 40 seconds. What's the one thing, what's the one goal you would want to accomplish before year's end? $20 seconds. All right. Anybody quickly from anywhere in the room want to share your goal? Come on, young man. Give me your name. Reagan. Joseph. What school are you from, Reagan?
Rogers.
Anatole Rogers. What's the one thing you want to accomplish by year's end?
To build a better relationship with God.
To build a better, okay. Now you ain't saying that just to impress me, eh? Super, super. Anybody else with a goal? Yes, sir. Let's respect one another now. Man, you know we know how to do it. Let's respect one another. To complete your retirement home. Are you about to retire or you've retired already? You're about to. When are you retiring? Next 8 years. But you want to complete. You want to complete it by the end of this year. So 8 years from now. Jesus have mercy. Okay, you want to get it. I see. 8 years out. No, you saying you're going to retire in 8 years. I'm saying you want to complete your retirement home 8 years before retirement. Good God Almighty. When you say you're about to retire, I thought you mean the end of the year. You talking about in the 30s. All right. Well, that's a good goal, my friend. Good goal. Yes, sir. It's another young man. Give me your name, young man. Yes. Right.
My goal is to achieve an SAT score of 1,400 by 1,400
1,400.
plus.
All right. You know what your score is now?
Oh, I haven't started yet.
You haven't
This will
started
be my
yet.
first time taking the SAT.
Who's the person who you close to? What score they have?
I'm closest to myself, so.
All right. Go ahead and live by yourself then. Go on. All right, but that's a good goal. That's a good goal. Yes, sir. I could take two more. Go ahead, friend.
My name is Isaac Ferg. Thank you.
Isn't it good to see these young men coming up with their goals? Yes.
Good day, my name is Isaac Ferguson from Anatole Rogers, and my goal is to pass all my construction classes. I passed carpentry, graphical, and I'm going for electrical and going to apply for BTVI after graduating.
Good. All right. You won't pass it all. Go on, my friend. Yes, sir.
Morning. I want to get close to my family.
To get close to your family. Wow. How many children you have? No, just joking. Get close to your family. That's a good goal, my friend. But the point is, President Mays told us, you see, so the tragedy is not in not reaching the goal. But the tragedy is in not having any to reach, so don't beat up on yourself. If by the end of the year the retirement home ain't finished, we got 8 years, bro. But the point is, you have a goal. You have something that you're looking forward to. Can I ask you to do me a favor as we do it for one another? Let's give God a thanks and praise offering for everybody with a goal in the room. Let's clap our hands and thank God for them. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit right now, right here today, it is a great time to be alive. I mean, this is one of the best times in history to be alive. Why is that, Bishop Ellis? Because you live. Because you yet live. This is a great time to be alive. And it's a good time to be a black man. Why is that good? Because you black. And you're man. And you have goals. And you have desires. And you have intentions. So I want to talk a little bit about creativity. I'm going to tiptoe into it in just a moment, but let me let you know that wherever you are in your life right now, wherever you are in your life right now, there is room for growth and expansion. Wherever you are. I mean, those of you who are living on top of the world right now, you actually have a great life. There's room for growth and expansion. And I need you, please, to get that, because no one in this room came into this world shortchanged. No one. Everybody and everything you need to live and to have a progressive and a productive life have either been given to you or you've been given access for it. You have not been shortchanged. Okay, so we can be a little interactive for a moment. Look at somebody and just tell them, you have everything you need to make it. So there's very little room for excuses. And black men are famous for it. We are famous for making excuses. Excuses are thieves. They rob you of a productive, progressive life. You've got to stop making excuses. Everything you need to be who you are supposed to be and to do what you are supposed to do and to fulfill that assignment that you were sent into this world for, you either have it or you have access to it. Now, because I'm a bishop, I figured they wanted me to put a little Bible in here. So I'm going to quote a verse or two just to show you I am a real bishop. And I'm not just an inspirational speaker. All right. So in Genesis 1, you'll find these words. In the beginning, what's the next phrase? God created. In the beginning, God did what? Create. That makes God a what? Creator. Later on down, right there in the first book of the Bible, in Genesis 1, you see, and God said, okay, I'm going to pass that since you think you know what I'm going to say. All right, I said, later on down in the scripture, God met with his partners, the Son, the Holy Spirit. You remember that? And he said, let us make who? Make who? Man. Now, who's this talking? God. Who is God? The Creator. The Creator said, let us make us, man. That's male and female, by the way. Let us make man. And how did he say we should make it? In our own image. And what is God? A creator. God is a creator. He made man in his own image. So you bear the image of God, man. You bear the image of God. And because he said, I want to make man just like me, that means that creativity is in your DNA. You can't escape it. You have to work hard at not being creative. Because creativity flows through your veins. Flows through your veins. Somebody in this room has the potential and the capacity to create something over the next 10 years that has never been created in this world. I said somebody, right? Quite frankly, everybody. Because creativity is in your blood. 1 week from today, we will shut down 3/4 of this year. And we'll commence the final quarter of this year. It is not a mistake that I asked you earlier, what is it that you want to accomplish before the year is over? Because my intention is, over my next 2.5 hours that I will speak to you today, all sound like it's okay. You're supposed to react. But over my next few minutes that I will speak to you today, I want to make sure enough has been said to make you go after that. To go after that. All right. Now, life is a series of preparatory moments that get us ready for one major moment. You go through this, you go through this, you go through this, you go through this to really prepare you for this. That's why you have to be careful going forward, black men, as to how you handle what looks like disappointments. Because even in those preparatory moments, there are some moments that look like disappointments. There are some moments that look like failure. There are some moments that bring you pain. There are some moments that bring you agony. But every moment you live is preparing you for at least one major moment in your life. And when you get there, you've gotten to a place that businessmen refer to as the tipping point. When you reach that place, it's hard to lose. Now, I want to talk a little bit about creativity because it is so on us. It is so on us. And I move around quite a bit, and I'm discovering something. Almost every place I go around the world, black men are almost the same. We always blame other people for our shortcomings. Whenever things don't turn out the way we wanted them to turn out or the way we expected them to turn out, we always find somebody to blame. When really, everything you need to get to where you need to go, to accomplish what it is you were sent here to accomplish, you have it or you have access to it, and you really can't blame anybody for the lack of it. Now, when you talk about creativity, I want to give it to you in its simplest form. Creativity is simply our ability to make something that didn't exist before. That's what it is. To make something, to do something, to organize something that never existed before. I had the opportunity last week, matter of fact, Saturday past, I had this opportunity to speak to the Links organization, just black women. Just black women. And I was dazzled by, Mr. President, the history of Links. It was started by two women who wanted to touch African American women with influence in ways that they've never been touched. Now, Links has over 900 chapters all over America, Europe, Bahamas, and one or two other places. Today, I have this wonderful privilege of speaking to this group, predominantly all men, emanating from a college that produced male innovators. And if you hear what Links are doing, it's African American women with like-minded spirits. That can bring us into the unity in just a moment. You will get up quickly and say, man, we got to do better than what we're doing. We can't let these women outdo us. Can't let these women outdo us. All right? And it's not that it's a competition. It's just that man has headship. When God created you, he gave you that. So you're supposed to always be one step ahead. Testing. Okay. All right, let me leave that alone. I know when a point is not welcome, so I just go to the next point. Creativity means taking what's in your brain and finding ways to give it form. Taking what's in your brain and finding ways to give it form. I'll give you one more definition. Creativity happens anytime we stop doing things the way they've always been done and start thinking of how they can be done another way. When I started Mount Tabor in 1987, I remember how the Lord spoke to me about it, and he said, this one must be different. This one must be different. And for the 36 years I stayed that ministry, that's what drove me. We cannot be regular. We cannot be pointed to as just another church. This one must be different. And you got to be prepared when you're dealing with differences and you come in outside of the status quo. You got to understand that opposition and criticism will come because people fear what they don't understand. And so if people are agreeing with you, you're normal. If there's no confusion, if there's no disturbance, if there's no grumble, if there's no opposition to what you're doing, they see you as one of them. And why would God make all of us to be alike? And he is a creative God. A creative God would not make duplications. Every time he creates one, he has something else in mind. Y'all, please say something. Please. Please. Jesus, I'm buying amen right now. All right? You got to understand. So God, say these words after me. God is creative. He never runs out of ideas. So why do you think, my friends, he will make him to do what you're doing and then make her to duplicate you? No. You gotta see God in a different light. Everybody, that's why everybody's fingerprints are different, because your assignment is different. You are not supposed to always fit in. That means you have complied to the regular. Oh God, you've complied. And that's not who you are. Hit yourself on the chest and say, I am not regular. Man, some of y'all ain't talking. Say, I am not regular. That's what you got to leave it with. There's something on the inside of you that is supposed to blow this world up. You are creative. There's creativity in your veins. Let me see what else I had. Okay, here's what Albert Einstein said. Creativity is seeing what everyone else has seen, here it is, and thinking what no one else has thought. You see it, everybody saw it. Then you start thinking what nobody else is thinking. I always had this mantra, and over the 36 years of pastoring Mount Tabor, the way I've designed my sermons is I look at a text for what is not written. I try to look at the text and see what the text is saying that is not written. So I look for the unwritten piece of the text. And when you come with that kind of revelation, you separate yourself from the pack. Because all these guys where I live are great preachers. What separates you? By saying things nobody else is saying. You know how you get to say that? By seeing things. What other people are seeing, but thinking things what nobody else is thinking. Testing. Okay. Here's what Henry David said. When it comes to being creative, it's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see. Because you don't have to always see what you're looking at. Somebody passing you by now, you can't help from seeing them. They passing, your eyes open. But what you recognize, other than their shape? Okay, let's do one more. Julie Israel, here's what she said. Creative people do not see things for what they are. You could almost finish this. They see things for what they can become. That's what creative people do. All right. When we opened our first housing subdivision for the members of the church, it was like, whoa, what church is doing that? I didn't respond. We just went to the second one, then the third one. Then others start thinking maybe we should do one. You changed the status quo. Why did that? I didn't just do that to be different. I recognize that in the Bahamas, in our country, the greatest social problem we have is housing. And I started doing some research, and I recognized that married couples stay together longer when they own their own home. And our church was loaded with young married couples. So I had to help them stay together, help them get a house. Then I realized, thank you. Oh, thank you. How much that cost? Then I realized, okay, I have these bunch of young professionals. They have goals, but they can't hardly ever pay for anything. They're always pinching. And I realized they were bad stewards of their money. So I did everything I could think of. 3 banks turned me down. And I thought of, okay, we need to get these people out of debt. One of the ways we could do that, get them away from using credit cards. But you got to replace it with something. You can't just tell people, get rid of that. What they going to replace it with? So Mount Tabor came up with a debit card. I went to Royal Bank, they turned us down. And all the money I had in Royal Bank, I took out. You turn me down, I turn you down, ain't no problem. That's the Christian way to go. I went to First Caribbean, who I've been to from I was a teenager. And they turned it down. I couldn't take everything out there because the church stuff was on there. We were in the middle of negotiating something. So you gotta be sensible but wise. So that was a bad time to move them stuff from there. But so what I did was I went to the Prime Minister, who had great confidence in me because of my numbers. Politicians are driven by. And I told him what I was going to do. He was the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance. And the government owned the Bank of the Bahamas. Without any long talk or dissertation, the Bank of the Bahamas agreed to partner with us. And through their ingenuity and creativity, we were able to produce a Mount Tabor debit card with Visa brand on it. Now, you're not out there just crediting stuff. You got a card, but you could only spend what you have. Consequently, they started managing their affairs better. Guess what that resulted in? More income to the church. They're managing their affairs better. They got more left over. More coming. You got to have sense to get dollars. All right. Y'all ain't quite buying that because it ain't happening for you, so let me move on. All right. So just like God was creative in making the heavens and the earth, and then man, God has given you the ability to be creative. And I want to give you one more thing on this, and then I'm going to leave this alone. All right, but say this after me. I have creative ability. I have creative power. I was created to create. All right, I'm going to accept that. I can't tell you I'm very happy with the sound of that because that's supposed to be like a roar. Y'all are men. You're sounding like men. I realized that wasn't going to come off good, so I didn't say that no more. All right. Well, y'all are men. You're supposed to roar. Say it after me. I have creative ability. That's it. I have creative power. Here it is. I was created to create. Good. Now, before I leave this creativity aspect of it, this is God's truth now. I ain't jiving you. No truth. This is really my Bishop Pod coming in. Because around 4:30 this morning, I got up and I wanted to review this little talk that we have in here. And I said, God, what is it that you want me really to say to these men and those gathered today? Why did you rearrange my schedule to fit this in today and work it out where I could go later? I was supposed to preach in Detroit, Michigan tonight. They shuffled things around, caused the speaker tomorrow night to speak tonight, and let me speak tomorrow night at great expense. Why, God, did you rearrange all of that to make sure I'm here? What is the one thing you really want me to say to these men? Because I'm 64 now. I don't really have time to waste. When I get up with a microphone, I want to make every minute count. That's my mantra now. It's too late in the game for foolishness. And I'm not trying to do anything to help me get ahead. I've gone almost as far as I want to go. But I never stop going until breath leaves the body. Now, here's what God told me to say to you guys. Tell them the fact that they're in the room. I wrote it down so I could read it properly. I don't want to ad-lib on this. The fact that they're in the room means that they are among the chosen people that I am expecting to do at least 3 things. Y'all ready for this? Okay, that's why I don't have a PowerPoint, because I changed most of my speech this morning after that. I had a nice PowerPoint for you when I thought I was speaking on resilience and faith, and then this morning it changed. All right, here's what he said. 1, I want them to leave a lasting imprint, watch this, on this world stage. I want them to leave a lasting imprint on this world stage. That's why a lot of you young men, you should be considering Morehouse when you're looking for a college right now. All right, number 2, tell them I want them to make a major impact on this and the next generation. That's why I'm not surprised to see all these young men here and see them participating earlier today. God's doing something. And then number 3, tell them I want them to leave things better off than how they met them. They're basically the 3 things I'm supposed to say to you. Mr. Boydell, that's a good way for a gift, if they could list the 3 things. All right, y'all got them, or you need me to give them to you one more time? You got them? One more time. If you needed me to do it one more time, just wave at me. Okay, that's enough for me to do it one more time. All right, leave a lasting imprint on the world stage. Make a major impact on this and the next generation. And 3, leave things better off than how you met them. Okay, let's talk a little bit about courage. Let's talk a little bit about courage, because in my world, courage and creativity are first cousins. Courage and creativity. It takes courage to be creative, even though it's running through your bloodline. All right? Now, here's a definition, some definition for courage. Courage is bravery in the face of danger. Bravery in the face of danger. So say these words after me. I won't be afraid again. All right, number 2, courage is steadfastness in the face of opposition. So say these words after me. I will never give up no matter what. Number 3, courage is action in the face of resistance. So say these words after me. I will never be intimidated again. And then 4, courage is optimism in the face of despair. Say these words after me: I will never lose hope, no matter what. So, ladies and gentlemen, courage is the ability to face and deal with a dangerous or difficult situation. That's courage. To have the ability to face it and deal with it. Listen to this admission by someone who I had to deal with a few years ago. Here's what he said: lack of courage is one of my biggest challenges. Incidentally, this is a friend of mine from Atlanta, Georgia. If I called the name, most of you guys would at least know the name, right? He says, lack of courage is one of my biggest challenges. There are many things I want to try, places I want to go, and business ventures I wish to embark upon. However, I am constantly living with regrets because I lacked the courage to step out in faith and do those things I desired to do. Let me tell you what his problem was. I'm going to tell you by quoting 3 things from the good book we read. Deuteronomy 31:6 says what it says: be strong and of a good courage. And then the next 2 words, guess what they are? Fear not. 1 Chronicles 22:13, be strong and of a good courage. Next 3 words, do not fear. And then 2 Chronicles 32:7, be strong and courageous, but be not afraid nor dismayed. Notice the connection, the real close association with the command to be courageous and the reality of the presence of fear. Because, ladies and gentlemen, whether you wish to admit it or not, fear is a major component of creativity. If you ain't scared, it ain't no. Because creativity means bringing something to being that does not yet exist. There is an element of fear that is attached to that. What if I fail? What if I don't handle it well? What will people think of me if it doesn't work? What if I blow it? Man, I was very comfortably involved in doing business when the Lord disrupted my agenda to get Mount Tabor started. And I was so scared because I'm running a business that's doing well nationally. It's making money, and I was making money. And then here comes God. God will always challenge you in areas that make you uncomfortable. That's because fear feeds creativity. If you're not scared, it's going to be hard to get it done. But yet, what you do, you face your challenge right in the midst of fear. And in the midst of fear, you keep rolling. You never let fear keep you back, because fear is designed to stifle creativity when God expects you to use it to promote creativity. Fear paralyzes us and strangles our ability to think, to imagine, to believe, to dream. Fear only hurts you if you let it control the way you think and the way you act. That's when it hurts you. Outside of that, fear, an element of it, is good for you. It's good for you. Testing. Okay. I can't even buy one. You don't even responding to them couple dollars. Okay. All right. So courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of fear. Here's what Aristotle said. We become courageous. Guess how? By being courageous. That's what Aristotle said. The way you become courageous is by being courageous. You want to become? Be. Be. Watch this now. When God created man, I'm back to your story. When God created man, I got my 15, how much time? 10 minutes? Okay, I could do it in 10 minutes. When God created man, watch this now. Here's the Bible. Most of you will know it. You know this. So God said, let us make man in our own image. And in the image of God created he them, male and female. And then God, you remember, breathed his breath into man's nostrils, and man became a, watch this. This is theologically astounding. When God did that, the Bible says, and then God said. Okay, now in between God said and him breathing, there's another phrase. He breathed into the breath of man, and man became a living soul. And God blessed them. That word blessed there is the Hebrew word which means to empower, to succeed, and prosper. And then God blessed them. What's the next thing? And said, be fruitful. Y'all got that? No, you didn't get it. I got to give it to you one more time. Watch this now. Okay, this is my time counting down right here. Okay, good. There you go. So, yeah, I got an extra minute there like I thought. Okay. So I want you to get the picture. So God stooped down out of the dust of the earth and he created man. Man was well formed and laying there lifeless, and then God breathed into man's nostrils. Man became a living soul, and then God blessed them. Then God said, be fruitful. Ladies and gentlemen, the first thing ever hit human ears were these two words: be fruitful. Can you imagine that? The first thing man ever heard in the historicity of mankind. I gotta say at least one word to make you remember me. But Mr. President, that's a word, right? That's a real word. I mean, look it up. Google that before I leave. See if you see historicity there. And if you don't see it, just simply say, Bishop Ellis was creative. All right. So the first thing human ear ever heard was be. That's not a suggestion. That's not a request. Be. That's a command. Be what? Fruitful. Make it happen. Do it. I have empowered you to succeed. Oh no, let me slow down because it's sounding like I'm preaching now. He said, be fruitful. I have empowered you to succeed and prosper for what it is I created you to be. That brings me to my final point that I have 7 minutes and 5 seconds to deal with. If I run out of time, I'll just see how bad they are and see if they'll put me out. I'm going to be on time, Mr. Poitier. You got Poitier as your last name. You related to Sir Sidney. I ain't trusting you. All right. Now, so Morehouse was first instituted as Augusta Institute, right? That was in, I did make note of it, but it was early in the 1800s. 1860s, I just wanted to see if y'all remember. I have it right here. All right, 1867, February 14th, Valentine's Day, right? Springfield Baptist Church in Augusta, Georgia. Am I right or what? Right, okay. But now what triggered this for me was this wasn't one man, 3 men. organized Morehouse College. There was a coming together to institutionalize something that has been in existence now for more than 150 years. 3 men. They came together. That's a unified force there. When we unite, we create a support system that helps us to weather any storm. You don't have to do life alone. You don't want to do life alone. The most powerful thing in mankind is relationships. Relationship. Adam was never out of a relationship. The minute he was created, the Bible says God came down in the cool of the day. Remember that? Every day God came down and met with Adam. God came down and met with Adam. You all know that part of the Bible? Yes, you do. God came down and met with Adam. When God was satisfied that his relationship with Adam was strong, he said, okay, now you're ready for this. That's when he gave him Eve. He didn't give him Eve before this was good and straight. That's where a lot of men go crazy. They try to get this before they get this. And it's hard to stay with this faithfully for 50 years if you don't have this. Matter of fact, when you have this, it's still a fight every day to do this. So I could only imagine if you don't have this, you got some hell on your hand. Okay, that ain't my point. So Adam had relationship with God, then God gave him Eve. Always relationship. You don't do life alone. It is not even good that man should be alone. Let him find a woman. So if you, this is like, if you're man with another man, you still alone. Now you could be in love. You just alone. You could even be living together. You could live together, but you alone because that ain't marriage. I understand whenever you're in a group now of black men where there's more than 20 people, you're about to offend at least 2 when you go in this direction. So given the calculation in here, I know I got at least 15 of y'all upset. It is not good that man should be alone. Now, if you have another man as your partner, that may be your partner. You go on, live your life. I just want you to know you're still alone. What social media later? Tell Bishop Ellis. He has no right to, shucks. Ain't nothing new you could tell me now. All right. So unity helps us to overcome differences. Unity helps us to find common ground. Unity helps us to have shared goals. When we are united, there's no challenge that is great enough to stop us from doing what we're doing. Okay, I have 2 minutes and 17 seconds. I want to read something for you quickly. And I want you in this passage, when you get home, you'll see creativity, courage, and unity. Right? This is Luke's Gospel, chapter 17, verses 11 to 19. Now it happened as he went to Jerusalem that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. This is Luke chapter 17, 11 to 19. Then as he entered a certain village, there met 10 men who were what? Lepers, who stood afar off. Now understand, ladies and gentlemen, at the time of the writing of this text, Jews had no dealings with who? Samaritans, right? Jews and Samaritans didn't mix. They had no dealing. And here comes Jesus, who was a Jew, going through Samaria. He has no right to do this. But if you notice the text, as you go down further, you'll see God had him on an assignment. And sometimes, and I told you earlier, God will give you an assignment that puts you in a position of discomfort. All right. So they met him, 10 lepers who stood afar off. 10 lepers, that means they had what? Leprosy. Why you think now? They're going to Jesus, but they're standing afar off. Why you think they're far off? No, there was a law that said when you had leprosy, you had to do social distancing. This ain't just come up with COVID. They were not creative when they did that. That's been here. You had to do, there was a law, 6 feet, honest to God. You had to stand 6 feet. So they were respecting Jesus' person. They stood afar off, verse 13, and they lifted up their voices and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. Let me tell you something real quickly. I got 14 seconds left, so I know I'm going to go over time for 3 minutes. So you might as well set your clock for 3 minutes so we could all be on one accord. Okay, watch this now. So, what did I read just now? And they lifted up their voices and said to Jesus. Now, let me paint this picture for you. One of the drawbacks with leprosy, see, leprosy was an incurable disease. It was a slow death. Eventually, you lost your ears, you lost your nose, you lost your fingers, you lost your toes. Wow, that even rhymed. Ears, nose, fingers, and toes. Ears, nose, fingers, and toes. Ears. Okay, that ain't working. So they lost it. But one of the major things that happened to people with leprosy is sooner or later they lost their voice. And they were all reduced to a whisper. Their voice. They got here minus 1 minute. I really don't like minus. You just show me you got 2 more minutes. Minus, don't minus me. I've lived too long for that now. Worked too hard to be a minus. I ain't going no further till you change that minus to a plus. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, watch the picture. So, but the point here, I'm going to treat you like Jesus, see? I'm going to treat you. You can stay right there. You can stay right there. I'm going to be the leper. I'm going to be the leper, all right? So I'm social distancing from you, okay? By the way, Jesus went to a certain village in Samaria. Remember we talked about that? He was not supposed to go into Samaria. But all of the lepers were in Samaria. What do you think was happening? They were in quarantine. They were in quarantine. But they heard Jesus was coming. And they knew Jesus was a healer. And they knew that leprosy is an incurable disease. And if they had any shot at life, they better get to Jesus. And so all 10. There was more than 10. But why only 10? Only 10 were allowed to gather. That was the max. Only 10. You see how they copied the Bible and then give God no credit? All right. It was only 10 could get together. So 10 at a time. These 10 went to Jesus. They went out to Jesus, but out of respect. Out of respect. And there's a verse in Leviticus that talks about the wearing of the mask. All right. So they had the mask on and they're 6 feet away from Jesus. Are y'all listening to me? And they have been reduced to. So one person who's reduced to a whisper with a mask on, Jesus would not hear. They can't speak loud enough for Jesus. Y'all answer the phone so it could stop ringing. For Jesus. Here's what the next verse says. And they lifted up their voices. They. Now understand, now Jews don't deal with Samaritans. But when you go down to verse 15, you'll hear Jesus saying, only one came back and he was a Samaritan, which meant that in that tent there was at least one Samaritan, and they don't mix, but they all have leprosy. And they all want healing. So they all went to Jesus. And they all lifted up their voice and asked for Jesus' help. Now, with the one, Jesus didn't say that. I can never get healed like this. I better make you the leper and I be Jesus. All right. So the leper, one at a time, would not hear. Jesus would not hear them. But my whisper, and your whisper, and your whisper, and 7 other whispers made a sound loud enough for Jesus to hear what they're saying, even though it's a whisper. And there were Jews and Samaritans. What you cannot accomplish by yourself, you will always accomplish when you. Last point. So Jesus said, go show yourself to the priest. And the Bible said, and as they went, they were healed. Listen to that one more time. Go show yourself to the priest. And as they went, they were healed. When did they get the healing? As they went, which means when Jesus said, go show yourself to the priest, they weren't healed yet, right? And back in the day of the text, only the priest could exonerate you from leprosy and pronounce you healed and tell you go back into the society. Jesus said, now go show yourself to the priest. And they look at their hands and they still had leprosy. They look at their foot, they still had leprosy. But as they went, healing came. Brothers and sisters, this way I end my little talk with you today. Whatever it is you are trying to accomplish, do not wait for all your ducks to line up. Some of them ducks ain't gonna show up. Don't wait till all your I's are dotted and all your T's are crossed. Get moving, and as you go, one step at a time. Every round will take you higher and higher if you want to accomplish your goal. You got to be creative. You have to have courage. And then you got to find somebody who could come in agreement with you and help you on the journey. I hope and pray that our time together today was what Dr. Humes asked me to do, inspire. If I did inspire you, I will have somebody moving around the room with an offering plate. Just joking. Am I supposed to take questions, or my time is gone? My time is gone. Okay, my time is gone. I don't have any room for questions. Are there any questions? My time is gone. Thank you very much. God bless you. I'm back over to Mr. Pointer.